The International Olympic Committee has confirmed that neutral athletes competing in Paris 2024 from the countries of Russia and Belarus will not participate in the opening ceremony. It is a stance that the International Paralympic Committee took before them, but it was today confirmed by the IOC after their executive board meeting. Here is the director of NOC, National Olympic Committee Relations and Solidarity, James McLeod.
The IOC Executive Board also looked at a number of protocol elements with relation to their participation of the AIN in Paris. First of all, a flag for AIN has been approved and an anthem has been approved. The anthem has no lyrics and has been produced solely for the purpose of the AIN in Paris. The IOC-EB also agreed the medals won by the AIN would not be displayed on any NOC medal table. In addition, the Paris ceremonies were discussed by the IOC Executive Board, and the following principles were established. AINs will not participate in the parade of delegations teams during the opening ceremony, since they are individual athletes.
James McLeod also confirmed that conversations remain ongoing with the National Olympic Committee of Afghanistan and that plans will push ahead for athletes to be able to compete, both male and female, despite the fact that females are banned from participating inside Afghanistan.
The IOC has been in continuous dialogue with the Afghan NOC and the Afghan sports authorities with the aim to reverse the current restrictions on access to sport for women and young girls in Afghanistan. At the same time, Afghan athletes, in particular female athletes, have been regularly benefiting from IOC and Olympic solidarity support to represent their country in international sports competition, including the Asian Games and the upcoming Olympic Games. The IOC Executive Board did recognize the divergent views across the world relating to the suspension or not of the Afghan National Olympic Committee. But it also recognized the fact that the IOC doesn't believe that isolation of the Afghan sporting community at this time is the right approach. This is based on a number of discussions that we have had with athlete community, Afghan athletes themselves, and in particular their female athletes, who have asked for us to maintain the dialogue with the Afghan authorities to help to address the situation. In view of this, the IOC Executive Board agreed that everything should be done with the Afghan NOC and the international federations concerned to ensure that the Afghan NOC can send a mixed gender team to the Olympic Games in Paris 2024.
I asked James McLeod for further clarification on that.
With the team from Afghanistan, to have women marching in it when they are effectively banned in their country, isn't that a perfect example of politicisation and, some of the reasons why other countries may be suffering different penalties?
I'll come back to what I said earlier. There has been many divergent views on how best to approach the problem. We have had many discussions, as you know, with the Afghan authorities relating specifically to the access of women and young girls to sport. The Afghan NOC and the Sports Authority has sent us a number of elements that they are working on within Afghanistan to try and allow access for women and young girls to sport. We're not impressed with what they are sending us, let's be honest. It's not making for good reading. That said, we also have to recognize that the impact, for example, that the team that was sent to the Asian Games had internally in the country, where they had more female participants than male participants, was something that was quite impressive. And that is where we're coming from. We believe that there will be an opportunity within Afghanistan for the civil society, for the population, to be able to see a gender-balanced team at the Olympic Games on the biggest stage in sport, and to be able to have at least some semblance of hope.
As you heard, James said it would set a good example for women in Afghanistan to be able to see other women competing in Paris. but there's absolutely zero guarantee that those women will actually be seen inside Afghanistan. Given it's against the law for women to participate, it's highly unlikely that any vision of any female athlete from Afghanistan competing in Paris will be shown inside that country. One of the other questions that's been bubbling away on the sidelines of the international Olympic movement ahead of Paris 2024 is the question of Israel and whether athletes from Israel should also be asked to participate as neutral athletes, given the ongoing war in Gaza.
And just with regard to Israel, and I know some have asked whether they should march as independent athletes, the president did an interview regarding the Russians, and he was saying that, Russia NOC was suspended because it reclaimed authority over regions annexed in Ukraine. I just wonder about that because Israel continues to field football teams in occupied territories in Palestine, and whether there are any similarities in that situation.
Hi, Tracy. And with regard to your last question, your last comment, obviously we have two NOCs, NOC of Palestine and the Israeli NOC, who coexist with equal rights, continue to do that and respect each other. They don't put each other's existence into doubt as NOCs. And I think more importantly, or very important to this, is in a recent case, the Court of Arbitration in Sport made it very clear, and we can all follow this. It said in a recent award, the ROC's reference to the conflicts over the territory of Kashmir, the conflict over territory of Nagorno-Karabakh, and the conflicts in Palestine are misplaced, as these situations differ significantly from the present case. In contrast to the present case, the relevant NOCs did not extend their area of jurisdiction over that of another NOC or outside their own area of jurisdiction. So I think that's pretty clear, and CAS, we would follow that CAS ruling.
Of course, this comes on the back of a letter that has been sent by the Palestinian Football Association to FIFA, asking to put on the agenda for their next discussions the idea that Israel be suspended, given that they continue to operate inside occupied Palestinian territories, and some of the Israeli teams who participate in the league or the national competition are indeed based in these occupied territories. So this is all playing out in the wonderful world of sport, where politics and sport do not mix. Everybody knows that's not the case. They most certainly do, not to make light of very difficult situations. But stay tuned. There's more in this space to come.